Today we're making these asparagus puff pastries. These are so good. They use asparagus, which is in season right now and really perfect for spring. We've got Mother's Day coming up and this is the perfect, quick and easy recipe. Hi, I'm Tara with Simply Made Eats and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making these asparagus puff pastries using store-bought puff pastry dough. This is the quickest, easiest recipe and it's so good. It's absolutely perfect for any event that you have in spring or Mother's Day or Easter or whatever you want to make it for. Everybody absolutely loves this one. I even caught my 15-year-old nephew eating this. I was like, you like asparagus? That's weird. But everybody loves this recipe. They gobble it up and we're gonna get started by preheating our oven to 400 degrees. So a lot of cooks have different opinions on the best way to get the ends off the asparagus. We don't want to eat the ends because they are like a tougher texture. A lot of people will just simply snap them off just like that, or they will just line them up and then cut all the ends off evenly when all the tops are touching. I find the easiest and fastest way to do it is if they're in the band like this, and they're all pretty similar like this. If they're all different, then you definitely don't want to do it the way I'm doing it. But if you just take your knife and just cut right below the band, or you can even cut like in front of it, then it just keeps them all in the band. But you got about 2 inches of asparagus off the ends and it's super easy. Now you want to make sure that you rinse all of the asparagus before we actually cook them in the oven. Next, we're just gonna lay the asparagus out on a cookie sheet. Try and spread it out the best you can. And we're just gonna pour over about a tablespoon of olive oil. And I've just got a little salt and pepper mixture. And then just give this a nice toss. Next, we're gonna bake this asparagus at 400 degrees for about 5 minutes. You wanna look for asparagus that's on the thicker side rather than pencil thin because we don't wanna overcook it here. Just a quick note, if you guys like your asparagus more firm or if you've got really thin asparagus, you can just go ahead and toss it in olive oil and salt and pepper and put it right into the puff pastry without baking it ahead of time. This is more like if you have a really thick asparagus or if you like it just crunchy. I like mine to be like really cooked in these, so it's kind of just a personal preference, but you can choose whatever you prefer. As the asparagus is cooking, we're just gonna shred up a little bit of cheese. I've got about a 1/4 cup of mozzarella that I'm gonna shred, and I like to do this on like the thicker side. And then I'm also gonna shred some Parmesan cheese. I'm like still getting in the swing of everything. We just got back from the Outer Banks and we went camping, so it's always like a lot of work, but it's totally worth it. So much fun. We had decent weather the whole time, which is always like in May, it's always kind of like, you never really know how it's gonna go there. We're so lucky. It's a little bit windy, but it was super nice. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever been to the Outer Banks before. If not, you should definitely check it out. Next, we're just gonna make a really easy mayonnaise and mustard mixture. So I'm just using a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. I like Hellmann's for this recipe, but you can use whatever you love. I'm not gonna even get on that whole Duke's train thing that everybody does. And then I've also got a couple tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Yeah, so back to our beach trip. Yesterday, I was like in the car and I'm like smelling something and I'm like, what is that smell? And we figured out that it was my daughter's purse. She's 7 and we're like, keep trying to figure out what it is. Like, why would your purse smell like fish? Well, it turned out that she had like brought a crab shell home and she had it in that bag and then she like put it in different bags. So like all of her purses now smell like fish from the ocean. So funny. Kids are crazy. Okay, so I am stirring this up. This is just a mayo and mustard mixture. I've got a little bit of salt and pepper left in the asparagus, so I'm just gonna go ahead and whip that in there. And that's it. Super easy. Next, pull your asparagus out of the oven, and then you're gonna just sit it aside and unwrap your puff pastry dough. I really love the Just Roll brand or any kind of brand that is already fresh, and you can find this like usually near the eggs. It's just nice because you don't have to wait for it to unthaw before using it. And you're just gonna take a pizza cutter and slice this right in half long ways. And then you wanna cut it into 2 more slices so that you have 6 equal squares, kind of rectangles to work with. And you want to make sure you pull this out of the fridge like right before you're going to use it. It's a lot easier to work with when it's cold. Then you're just going to sit this aside and get a new cookie sheet ready with parchment paper. I like to use a full sheet for this. And on each square, you're just going to paint it with some of that mustard and mayonnaise mixture. Then top it with a few asparagus. I usually do like 5 to 6. If you've got really big asparagus, you can use like 3 to 4 on each. Next, you're gonna add the cheese. We've got some mozzarella and Parmesan. And then you're just gonna wrap these up. And if possible, you definitely want to keep it in the same spot. They're kind of tricky to move around. Next, we're just going to make a really simple egg wash with just 1 egg and a teaspoon of water. We're going to whisk this together and then paint it over the top of our puff pastry so it's nice and it gets a nice golden and flaky crust. Now we're just gonna sit these in the oven for 15 minutes. We're all done with these easy asparagus puff pastries. Let me know in the comments if you guys decide to make them for Mother's Day. My mom just came over and she confirmed that they are delicious, so hopefully your mom will love them too. Thanks so much for being here. Be sure to subscribe so we can keep cooking together. And if you love recipes with puff pastry, make sure to check out my bacon and cheese turnovers. Those are so yummy. And also my blueberry galette is really yummy too, and you'll absolutely love that one. So make sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye. These are so yummy. At first I thought the asparagus was a little bit too crispy, but I think it's perfect. Really, really good.